Genesis Farm is a place that can give us all hope. Because part of the idea is that we can now, we humans can now, and we have the information. We could do it. We could do what is necessary to restore restore natural processes and build a better life for the future.
Okay. Children?
Genesis Farm is a farm in northwestern New Jersey, which is moving toward its 35th anniversary, and it is committed to exploring the relationships between humans and the natural world, and out of the perspectives that we've really come to know through the scientific understanding of the evolution of the universe, which would suggest that humans are Earth in the form of human, and that if we can maybe explore that identity, we might change some of the behavior which right now has become very, very damaging, not only to each other, but to Earth itself. So we're exploring that, trying to understand where the ideas of our being separate from Earth have come from, but more importantly, how can we recover our memory of being an Earthling and live in harmony with, rather than in antagonism to the natural world.
Miriam, would you come forward, please? And Peggy, and another board member, Courtney. And you notice that she is expecting. We have another board member in the back who's carrying a child. It's very dangerous to become involved if you're at the age of having a child to work with us. I tell you, we have lots of babies. Why don't you come here, because you want to read the plaque.
This says Network for Peace Through Dialogue honors Miriam Theresa MacGillis, visionary, artist, educator, creator of Genesis Farm, giving voice to Earth. Recognition night, October 30th, 2014.
I was sitting in a room upstairs earlier and looking out at the the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and recalling how another phase of life began in a phase of my own life when I was an art teacher and an artist, and spent many, many hours in that amazing structure of the gathering of some of the most creative human beings who have lived in our history, and how that way of seeing as the artist was so important in my own life for seeing beauty and the absence of it, whether that was within human relations or with what was happening to the planet. And so being here tonight is it's a grace, and I'm very, very deeply grateful. And I really want to accept this on behalf of the land of Genesis Farm and the communities of life in the forests and streams and wetlands and soils and gardens and the animals and insects and birds, and we go on, that silent, voiceless community who sustains us. And it's a joy this evening to have some of my dear companions from Genesis Farm here with me, without whom our work could not proceed. And so on behalf of those and my congregation of Dominican sisters who have so generously just surrendered this land to this ecological vision 35 years ago without any sense of certitude about anything. And so
for all of them, I'm saying thank you. And as I was reflecting on the thrust of this organization, of this movement of people who have believed for so long that peace could be achieved if the elements and conditions for truthful dialogue were present. And the history that you have stayed faithful to over these years, 25 years now. More, yeah. Because it didn't just materialize one day. There was a network. Now, it goes back to a long, long story. Taking that notion of dialogue to Earth, we're a generation that is only just beginning to realize that Earth has a voice, has a story, has an identity, has a deep, deep spiritual wisdom, and is carried in every living cell, in every living being on the entire planet. There is a knowledge embedded in the living cell that carries a memory not only of the 5 billion years of Earth's physical existence, being born out of the explosion of a supernova star, but that the elements that make up all those living cells, all that carbon, all that iron, all that nitrogen, all that oxygen, all that calcium, has a story that goes back even further to the very beginning of the universe. And that's the wisdom in every living cell. And that's its memory. And to be challenged in our time now to recognize that, to realize that, after thousands of years of Western civilization in which our forebears really did not comprehend that in the way we can do it now, is miraculous. And so when Kathleen mentioned and Peggy mentioned that the work of Genesis Farm has really been grounded and rooted in the work of Thomas Berry, he had an extraordinary capacity to understand and articulate this in ways that flowed out in visions and directions for how we as a species can move forward from the devastating history we have been involved in, especially over the last several hundred years of the industrial process. And so the chaos and the tension that it causes all of us to face into that is really the path into our own creative liberation from that dependency on the consumerism and empty materialistic values that have been promoted for way, way, way too long by the industrial nations of our planet. So my great thanks to you, and my prayer and my hopes as you proceed and we continue to proceed into the future is that we will grapple with those tensions and find the deeper peace that comes from interconnectedness with the whole community of life and of being, and in a much greater simplicity of life than we have been kind of programmed to think is the way into happiness. So blessings on your future and our future together, and thank you so much.